Hey everybody, this is Nat from Vinny's Garage.
And Ruben, also from Vinny's Garage.
My faithful sidekick Ruben.
Let me tell you about the exciting world of Vinny's Garage, the garage filled with over 100,000 comic books. My involvement with the story of Vinny's Garage actually began on Reddit. I had noticed on the subreddit Comic Book Collecting, a user was regularly posting updates on books they had found in a garage. But these books weren't any ordinary books. Books like Giant Size X-Men #1 and Iron Man #1 were being discovered in someone's garage, and those books were just the tip of the iceberg. The user, who went by Comics in the Garage, who I would later know as Nat, created a subreddit called Vinny's Garage where the folks who enjoyed his posts could come together and bask in the glory of these uncovered gems. But what is the story of Vinny's Garage, and how is Nat involved? Why am I even talking about this when there's so many other collector stories out there? The story of Vinny's Garage actually comes from very humble beginnings. In the early 1980s, a gentleman in the Bronx named Vinny had the drive to open his own comic book shop. To do so, he started acquiring a back catalog of comic books, purchasing bulk lots and private collections. For around a decade, he collected books, spending roughly $50,000 per year building his collection to sell. Unfortunately, Vinny never got the right chance to open the shop. Life moved on. He got married and moved to Arizona. The comic books he had spent over a decade collecting went with him to be stored in his climate-controlled garage. 35-ish years later, Vinny's friend and attorney, Nat, learns Vinny can't park his car in his garage because it's filled with comics, all unsorted and all unvalued. Vinny hadn't sorted any of the 100,000 comics because it was an overwhelming job. He hadn't hired anyone to do it because he knew there would be valuable books in there and he was afraid of theft. Being the friend he was, Nat, while knowing very little about comics, offered to sort the boxes for Vinny, inventory the books, and find them new homes. Nat reaches out to his friend Ruben in California, who was a comic book artist with extensive knowledge about comics. Ruben visited the garage and told Nat to visit ASAP.
We are some of the only people that have the experience of walking into Vinny's garage, especially for the first time. He had mentioned to me that he had a garage full of comics, and I said, how full? And you think a few boxes, right? Yeah. And he said, full of comic boxes from floor to ceiling. And
he wasn't lying.
Yeah, he wasn't lying. It was hard. We had to take boxes out and put them in his guest bedroom, just so we could have enough space to pull boxes and look. When you're selling these things, you think about doing it in bulk, and comic book shop will give you $10 a box, maybe. We went and sort of priced out a box. Like, this is $1,000 worth of comics.
Their weekend sorting trips to the garage would take multiple stays over 2 to 3 days, with the comics spilling out into the driveway in order for them to get in. Nat decides to start posting the finds on Reddit. To Nat's surprise, the finds generated quite a lot of buzz. To keep it all together, the Vinny's Garage subreddit was made in late 2022. Vinny gave Nat the okay to start selling comics. However, with so many high-valued books, where would he start? Nat decided to start sorting through the big key books and sell off ungraded books to start the fund of the rest of the project. The ultimate plan was to send the big keys out to get graded and sent to auction. Because the subreddit desired many of the books, Nat and Vinny decided to start with mystery boxes for $100 US to see how everything went. Before even nearing 500 users, the sub burned through the first 75 mystery boxes without hesitation, blowing away both Nat and Vinny's expectations. I was one of those fortunate 75 users. By March of 2023, the next 100 mystery boxes went up for sale for $100 US each, which again I took part in. However, this new sale came with a catch. You could also donate to a charity and get a few more books added to the box. For the charity, another $3,500 was raised by the community of now just over 700 users. The sub was filled with positivity over both mystery boxes. Each time someone received a box, they post their contents on the sub and share it with the world. When making the first batch of mystery boxes, Nat wanted to take them to another level. He had an idea to make a wax seal, similar to how legal documents were sealed in past centuries, to prove the boxes were not tampered with, and to brand Vinny's Garage. Ruben did the artwork, and Nat had the seal made. Some of the big prizes in the mystery box came with certificates of authenticity Nat had prepared. While talking with Nat in the making of this video, he revealed for the first time that each certificate of authenticity has a secret mark on it that can only be seen with a black light. The 8 certificates that exist all have unique markings on them. Future certificates would also have these unique markings. While I personally didn't get a certificate through the mystery box sales, here is a wax seal from one of my mystery boxes. The community felt like it was booming, with many of the users sharing stories about comic book collecting or reminiscing about certain books when Nat posted them on the sub. One user even got their books graded by CGC. Another user, who was an artist, Derek Mason from Illinois, knowing Vinny was a fan of the Punisher, designed a custom comic book cover for the sub. But unfortunately, after the March mystery boxes went out, the sub went quiet. Both Nat and Vinny's personal lives took precedence and the sub quieted down. While Vinny was never able to open up his comic book store, his collection, alongside with Nat's perseverance online, created a unique comic book culture which cultivated in not only fan art and people sharing their stories online, but also inspired me to create this video and to share its story. While I never spoke with Vinny, I got to know Nat personally and connected with a ton of comic book fans on the sub. With each new mystery box being revealed, there was never any feeling of jealousy, just excitement. I was happy for everyone involved with the project. Their excitement was reciprocated when I would post my mystery boxes or stories.
I always think about that one weekend. You came down for a long weekend, and I mean, we probably put in like a 15-hour day. And at the beginning of the day is when we first started hitting these like kind of like Silver Age, Bronze Age boxes. We'd find like an Iron Man #1 or something. And remember, we found like, whoa, that's amazing! We're looking it up,
excitement.
and then like 10 hours later, we're like, I found another Iron Man #1. Yeah, we're like, okay, just put it on the pile.
You found Amazing Fantasy 15.
Oh yeah,
appearance of.
Oh yeah.
Spider-Man.
Oh, there's that.
Yeah, there's that. Yeah.
Yeah. So
this kind of tells you how crazy of a collection it is, because you would think anybody that would be like the main like story of the memorable thing, but there was so many things that it all kind of just meshes together. Like the whole experience has been great.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. A lot of people were like because I wasn't really a comic book guy. I'm just a scumbag lawyer, right? Yeah. People have said, "Oh, this is a great time, occasion for you to get into comic book collecting." And I thought about it and I said, "This is probably the worst possible way I could ever get into comic books because like it's all downhill from here.
You're
like
spoiled.
I'm just expecting to have like, I want a Hulk at 181 every time I open a garage now.
Yeah, if you don't have a Hulk 181, then don't even invite Nat.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
While I didn't get a Hulk 181 from the garage, I did get a handful of really awesome books for the 2 mystery boxes that I participated in. So let's go over some of those books right now too. The first mystery box, a lot of really interesting books in this here. And I'm not going to show all the books that I got in both mystery boxes, just the notable ones. So of course, notable book, X-Men #1. I have a handful of copies of this already, as does the rest of the world. But this is the Magneto cover, awesome Jim Lee cover. This is just a classic book to have in your collection. This next book is kind of became a meme book within the community. It is Time Masters #1 by DC. And the whole idea behind this is that this book is going to be worth something someday, I'm sure. Much like how many other books... I remember I used to own Moon Knight #1, and while that isn't the first appearance of Moon Knight, that book... years ago, long story short, I donated a bunch of comic books. Moon Knight #1 was one of them. This is like in 2011, something like that. Who knew that Moon Knight would become popular and that book would be worth more than the $1 that I paid for it at a dollar store? I'm hoping this Time Masters. I'm going to hold on to this one here, and we're going to see what happens with this book. Just a no-name 90s DC book, and the whole joke is that it's going to be worth something someday. You guys just got to hang in there. This next book is really Spider-Man book. It is The Web of Spider-Man. This is number 70, and this is the first appearance of Spider-Hulk, or Spider-Man turning into the Hulk. Just a really neat idea and neat cover. It's not really that big of a book by any means, but it's just a really cool cover. It's put together pretty nicely. Another one of the big books, just keeping on the Spider-Man train, is Spider-Man #1. Again, I already own a copy of this, as does most people on Earth. But this book here is it's a classic Todd McFarlane cover. Everybody, like, this is just such a wonderful piece of art. I don't think anybody in the garage or the community got any of the variants. It was mostly this book. This is an unusual one. It's a Marvel Comics Presents Wolverine with Spider-Man. This is number 49, and the neat thing about this book, story-wise, it doesn't have much going for it. The neat thing about this book is the cover, and I feel that this cover is really underappreciated, because again, this was the 80s, I believe, when this one came out, and this cover here, like, You have to imagine now, when people, they do artwork, they have their backgrounds, they do things in layers. And for here, you know, you would have drawn Spider-Man and Wolverine, and then there's all those spider webs done in the background. And the amount of detail gone to this book here with this cover art is just absolutely insane, to fill in the blank space with something so cool like spider webs. The artist for this, I'll just explain at the bottom here who the artist is. And yeah, just awesome cover. Second to last, I mean, this is the big book, in my opinion, from the mystery box. This is Batman number 428. This is The Death of Robin. And of course, this is just a classic cover, classic storyline, Death in the Family. This was a big book and a surprise for me to see in the mystery box. Absolutely stunning. But it's a great quality book too. Like I think it is like in the 9 range because, well, again, the garage was so well kept. And just generally this book is just well maintained. So awesome book to have in the collection. And lastly, this book, you guys know I'm a horror fan. And when I saw this book, well, it's not as big as Batman 428. This is my big book in the collection. Toxic Avenger number 1. I am such a big fan of the Trauma films and Lloyd Kaufman and obviously Toxie here. Seeing this was just put a big smile on my face. This was just such a cool book to see. These are the thing I love the most about mystery boxes is that you really don't know what you're going to get and you find really neat surprises within them. Like I would never go out of my way to buy Toxic Avenger number 1 or any of the books really that I have shown you guys here. But this one is certainly, I'm super glad I participated in the mystery box, and this is the book that one of my favorites that I got out of both mystery boxes, to be frank. But what about that second mystery box? The second one, Nat got a lot of feedback from the first one, and there was a lot of repeats. Most mystery boxes in mystery box 1 were repetitive. There were a lot of people got Spider-Man ones, a lot of people got Time Master ones, which was kind of why the meme existed. There wasn't much variety. By the second run, Nat really mixed things up, and it got really cool, and I got, there's a handful of books that were really neat in here, but I got 4 here that I really wanted to showcase, and I think out of the 4, 2 of them were not in anybody else's mystery boxes, and it's actually going to be the first 2 I'm going to show you. I could be mistaken, but just going off of memory, and I'm not going through all the posts to figure it out. So the first one here is New Mutants Annual number 1. This Bill Sienkiewicz cover, and this is the first appearance of Leila Cheney, so it ends up being Cannibal's girlfriend, and this is just awesome cover. Obviously Sienkiewicz is just an incredible artist, and you know, it's an underrated annual. Most New Mutants books are underrated, save for, you know, Deadpool and X-Force in there, but yeah, both annuals, 1 and 2, the first 2 annuals of the New Mutants run, they have some pretty big hitters in there. I mean, Leila Cheney is not the big hitter. The New Mutants Annual 2 is with Psylocke, first appearance of her. So having both annuals, again, this is a book that I may have picked up just because it is X-Men related. But this is just a really cool book to have in the collection. And again, another major player, so to speak, in the X-Men universe is now in my hands. The other book here, and I probably would have picked this book up had I ever seen it in the wild for a decent price, but you know, get it in a mystery box, why not? Hulk 377. This is the first appearance of the Professor, so that is when Hulk gets smart. Again, this book is near mint. Just a really gorgeous cover, and it was the way I think Nat did the boxes too, is he made sure that like when they were all stacked, as you take the books off, you're like, oh wow, that one, that one, that one. And this one, just the pop of green, whoa! I was very thrilled to have this book appear in that mystery box. Just really cool, awesome artwork, and obviously it's Peter David's Hulk is you guys know, it's Peter David. He's a great writer. The last 2 books here, I think quite a few people did get these. So again, it's wild that Vinny had these books in the garage, but again, you know, partake in the mystery box and you will enjoy. Red Sonja number 1. This isn't the first appearance of Red Sonja. This is the first Red Sonja solo book, and she's had many solo books after this. But this is volume 1, number 1. So her first appearance was, I can't remember the issue, but it was in the Conan the Barbarian series. And just a really awesome cover. I just love the artwork in this just because it's so fantastic. Like, quite literally, you have this weird demon here. You have a unicorn, because why not? She's cutting a serpent in half, dead spider. Like, what don't you want in your medieval fantasy stories here? And of course, you know, Red Sonja's dressed really inappropriately for what she's doing. It's just a wild cover, and the artwork inside is really, the artist, the cover, I'll put the artist here, did the interiors as well, and the artwork just continues through the whole book like that. Really awesome book to have. And lastly, this book here was really hot because both mystery boxes took place over the COVID pandemic, and as many of you collectors may know, comic book prices ballooned. And this book here definitely ballooned due to the certain movies that were out at the time. The prices have come down. In a way, this book was made the mystery box was worthwhile, but this one made it more worthwhile than it should have been. But again, that's just because of the ballooning prices. And this isn't a first appearance by any means, but it is the first issue. It is Black Panther #1. And this is Jack Kirby doing his own solo work here, taking his character that him and Stan Lee, probably just more Jack Kirby, created, and giving him a solo series. And so Black Panther #1, it's a pretty decent grade. I think there is a little bit of staining on the back of this one, but it's still a pretty clean looking cover, and this was a big book to have in that second mystery box. Like, really, if I just go over again those 4 books, like, this was a mystery box 2 amongst, I think, 10 other comic books. The mystery box was just phenomenal. So I really hope that Vinny reopens up the garage to let mystery boxes happen again, or sales can start flowing again. The Reddit community, again, has been wonderful for that. I appreciate Nat and everything he's done to help get this thing going. Ruben's obviously been a huge help for getting the books sorted, graded, doing the artwork. Again, those the wax seals have been really cool addition to any of the books. I hope that we see the garage open up again, and I really am excited to see more photos and books. Like, although everything has been uncovered from the garage, there's still tens of thousands of more books for Nat to be posting online. So hopefully he gets started doing that again. And yeah, that's the story of Vinny's Garage. If you have any comments, questions, feel free to leave them down below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Click on some other fun videos. I think right here is where you can click to subscribe to the channel, and see you guys in the next video. Thanks so much for watching.